Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Indy Investor Pod. I got Randy joining me here today, and we're really excited about this episode because this is what we love to talk about right here. We're just talking about our favorite places in Indy to get some food and drink. Like I said in the intro, we're kind of taking a break away from the neighborhood episodes and things like that. We had some technical difficulties getting things scheduled and stuff like that. Then we were out of town, so apologize for the delay on the episodes and stuff like that. But we just decided to go ahead and really easy for Randy and I to talk about stuff like this, like best places to eat, best places to get a drink, some specialty food items, and then some things to do in Indy. We're actually going to do a little kind of like 3-part episode on these and go through them and stuff like that. So, but Randy, like I said, these are episodes that you and I would love to be talking about each and every day. I think we need our own radio show or something to just talk about this stuff. But
yeah, man, there's a lot of places to go, like eat in Indy and go have a drink. And hopefully, I mean, the goal behind doing these is that it's giving everyone who wants to visit Indianapolis for the first time or just not familiar with the places to go that just maybe local hidden gems or just well known, but just give someone a place to go to rather than having a meeting at McDonald's or something.
yeah, definitely. So it's really easy to come into town and go to like Starbucks and have a meeting
Right.
there. But there are some pretty good spots in here and in Indianapolis to eat, to drink, to have coffee, to take your wife if you're in town with her or whatever it may be. So we're going to get into some of that today. And yes, I do realize that we are going to leave some things out.
Mm-hmm.
There are some great spots here that we are not going to have on our list, and it's no offense to anybody at all, but we're picking the places that we like, and we think that that investors that are in town or some people that are visiting Indy that they should check out. So that's kind of how we're approaching this right here. And we've even left some of our favorite places off because they're like, it's kind of maybe I think it's more just like a me and my wife's kind of thing or something like that. So
Right.
but there's some stuff on here. So no offense to anybody as we create this list and stuff. But
There will be some left off.
right. So what we're going to dig into a little bit. So this is kind of we're going to do like kind of 2 episodes on food and drink. So this first episode here, this is going to be kind of if you're in town and you need to meet somebody for a food meeting or a drink meeting, coffee meeting, that type of thing. Then the second episode on food to drink, we're going to get into a little bit of more of the specialty things. So like if you want to get some wings, where do you go? You want to get some pizza? If you want to get some healthy food, where do you go? That type of stuff. And then we're actually going to do a third episode that's going to be more of like, hey, what types of things can you do in Indy? Where are some places to check out? Where can I go on a good hike or a good run? That type of thing. So that's what we're looking to do here. So for our categories for this episode, we're going to dig a little bit into if you want a higher end dinner, where to check out, a casual dinner, a date night dinner, lunch spot, breakfast spot, coffee spot. And then we're also going to get into if you want to watch a game or just have a drink or hit up a brewery. And then there's some random stuff too that I didn't really know what category they went in. They're just cool spots that are worth checking out. So that's all kind of in the episode today. But so Randy, we're going to start off with a little high end dinner. So if you need to go to a high end dinner, kind of maybe if it's a 3 or 4 price tag or dollar signs when you look it up on Google or something like that is what we're looking at here. And I think the number one is it's got to be St. Elmo's. Like it's just a great place to go check out. So for my list and for these lists, I kind of put in like 5 places each. Randy's going to add a little bit to it and we can talk about some of these places too. But so for my 5 for like kind of a higher end dinner, I put St. Elmo's, Tony's, another steakhouse that is actually highly recommended by our acquisitions guy, Ronnie. He loves that place. So Provision is a really cool place at Keystone at the Crossing. Noah Grant in Zionsville, really, really cool place. And then Salt on Mass Ave. I kind of looked at those places. You have a little bit of variety for all those and stuff like that. You're going to pay maybe a little bit more, but really good food, really cool atmosphere. That's what I kind of came up with. Randy, do you have anything to add to that list, my man?
Yeah, I had a couple of the same ones. Obviously, St. Elmo's, that I'd also put / Harry and Izzy's because that is the sister restaurant there, and you can get a lot of the same items that you get at St. Elmo's. But if you can't get in the door because St. Elmo's is so busy, you can always hit up Harry and Izzy's. Great food there. I also had Provision. I had Anthony's Chop House in Carmel.
Yeah.
So that's a newer one to the Carmel area. Really nice, kind of high-end steakhouse. And I also had Union 50. Down off Mass Ave.
Good stuff. Unique food, a unique menu, really cool place and stuff too. And that's one of the things that we went through this of like, hey, where's actually a cool location and stuff. We always want to consider that as well. So look at a place like Provision. I think it's just cool being in the that area over there, like Keystone at the Crossing. I forget what they actually call that area. Randy, you might be able to help me out there. I just blanked on it, but there's a
The
lot of places.
Ironworks.
Ironworks, yeah. So you got the Ironworks Motel, but there's a lot of places over there too. So good sushi restaurant, breakfast place. You got Daredevil Hall over there to grab a drink as well. Verde, Roost Chris. So there's a bunch of stuff around there and things, but just kind of a cool area. But Provision's definitely a cool spot. And then of course Salt down on Mass Ave. You can go anywhere and everywhere around there. So hit up a really good dinner there, but then just walk around and grab a drink and stuff afterwards and things. But I really feel like kind of St. Elmo's is kind of like the standard of like, hey, if you're coming into Indy for the first time and you want a good meal and you want a steak, you go to St. Elmo's. Like you said, Harry and Izzy's kind of factored in that too. So
yeah, everyone that comes, they always want to go to St. Elmo's because that's what they hear about. So everyone's got to try it once. But if not, all those other choices can't go wrong.
Yeah. And I will say too, is it worth the hype? I 100% think it's worth the hype. It's one of my favorite ribeyes in town. So really, really good stuff. So one of my favorite things about going there too is, if my wife and I get a steak, she will not eat all of her steak. So I get it the next morning for breakfast with some steak.
Bonus.
And stuff.
Bonus steak.
Here we go. Yeah. So that's when you know food's really good too. When you eat it cool the next day.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that's what these higher end places want me talking about when we're
right.
talking about their and stuff. So no, really cool too. And then I know I had Noah Grant on there as well. I'm over in Zionsville. So if you want some like oysters and some seafood and things like that, definitely a great place to check out. Cool atmosphere downtown or Zionsville to be able to walk around and, on the cobblestones and things like that. So good stuff. All right. Next category, we kind of have, so we have casual dinner. So if you don't want to quite pay that, like I said, $3 or $4 dollar sign on Google or anything like that, you just want like a little casual place, cool spot to hang out. My list for that is I had Cobblestone Grill in downtown Zionsville, really cool place. Nice to have live music a lot of times too, have an inside outside area. 20 Tap, one of my favorite places, one of my first places I went to in Indy to check out. Really, really cool place and have an awesome menu with quite a different type of food. So even if you're a vegetarian, vegan, meat eater, all that kind of stuff, they have some good stuff on there. 10 West in Randy's neck of the woods up in Cicero. I think that's kind of a hidden gem when it comes to places to eat in Indianapolis. Go up to Cicero. 10 West is an amazing place to eat. Really good menu. And then I have the Livery. I never what it's called, Livery or Livery. I think I hear both down off of in the Mass Ave area as well. They have a really, really good menu. Have just a bunch of different stuff, but they have like a cool little rooftop or a little patio up top and downstairs and really neat menu. And then another place I put on there too, I don't hear a lot of people talking about it, but I think it's kind of like a local spot that a lot of people go to, is Kona Jack's and Daddy Jack's off of Meridian, kind of on the north side of Indy and stuff like that. So I know my wife loves their sushi at Kona Jack's and things, but they have Daddy Jack's as well if you want kind of a steak, or even they have a live music room over there and stuff too. So I thought those are really good places for just kind of that casual dinner, kind of a nice dinner and stuff like that, but it's more laid back, not quite as heavy as a price tag, that type of thing. So Randy, what'd you have to add to that one, man?
Yeah, so I kind of had like casual dinner or lunch.
Yeah.
These places. I also had 20 Tap and Rod Ripple. Love going there. I had Big Woods and Speedway. Really, really good food. And it's a cool atmosphere, down by the track and everything. I had Fat Dan's. So there's Fat Dan's in Broad Ripple and then Fat Dan's in Carmel. So, depending on what side of the city you're staying at, definitely a good place to check out. Their portions are good. Sandwiches, pizza, wings. Really can't go wrong there. And then also, I had to put this in there because I was super satisfied when I tried this for the first time, was Mimi Blues Meatballs.
Yeah.
So, I know it doesn't sound very appetizing. I did it to me at least. I'm like, what am I going to do? Go here and eat meatballs? But it is delicious. There's how many different, varieties of the sauces with the meatballs you can get, but I went there once last year and, I fell in love. So it's definitely a place I'd check out again.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely worth putting on the list there. I think that's a good spot there. And there's quite a few of them around town as well. So you definitely check those out. So then you mentioned, so I kind of did lunch spot for a separate little thing here too. And as I created this, my list just continued to get bigger and bigger. And Randy and I started off like, we can fit all this into one episode. No, there's no way. There's too many places to talk about and stuff. So I did a separate category for kind of lunch spots and things here. So some of the ones that really stood out to me, some of these are kind of like local favorites, but it's a really good spots. If you guys are coming in town too, you can kind of check out different spots of the city. but then also great spots to set up like meetings if you're coming to town to meet with contractors or investors or whatever it may be. Here's definitely some of the spots that I would recommend. So Dawson's on Main, over in the Speedway area, real good favorite, and that have a great menu over there. Kaplinger's is a great place for some fish. So if you want a fish sandwich, some cool sides, also just a cool atmosphere. There's a few different locations around Indianapolis and stuff like that too. Highly recommend that. You can also order fish to take home from there, which is really neat too. I think really good stuff. I think Garden Table is an amazing spot that has some really healthy options, and just it's very nice in there. So a couple different spots for that one as well. Great meeting spot there. And I think Goose the Market, I think, is a really cool place as well. You go in there and get some, kind of create your own sandwich and that kind of thing. It's kind of that, it's a little different atmosphere, kind of laid back. It's pretty cool in there. And then I think definitely worth mentioning too is the Metro Diner up on the north side and things there. So that's kind of that's a local favorite. I know right when I started coming in town and having meetings with different people, and I think I had like 5 meetings in a row at Metro Diner because people were like, "Oh, you got to try this place," and that was like kind of.
Dude, I forgot about the Metro Diner.
Yeah,
that place is good.
So yeah, just a great little local diner spot and things like that too. So Randy, you got any other favorite lunch spots you want to throw on there?
Just kind of running off the top of my head. Half liter barbecue in Broad Ripple is very good. So it's just mainly like a barbecue joint, but you can also get some other types of food there as well. And then I'm just trying to think of the places we always go, man. Bar Louie in Carmel's good. Big place, nice big patio. But yeah, you kind of hit all the good ones already.
Yeah. So all right, let's talk a little bit about breakfast here. So if you want a good breakfast spot,
I guarantee you have everything on my list already.
We probably do have the same ones on there and stuff. So this is actually the one that there are a ton of amazing breakfast places in here. And I love the places, like I love going to lunch, like lunchtime, but getting breakfast. So those are the places I really look at too. Breakfast is my favorite type of food. Even though I don't really eat it for breakfast very much, but I like the place I can go to for lunch and get breakfast items. And a lot of these fall into that category. But I put definitely Rosie's Cafe, one of my favorites. If you've met with us at our office, a lot of times you probably have gone over to Rosie's Cafe with me. So they have one in Carmel, Noblesville, Zionsville, really good stuff there. Good Morning Mamas down on Broad Ripple, definitely one of my favorites. Really cool atmosphere in there. They have a nice little patio, nice little garden area. But really good food as well. And then one of my favorites that I don't get there enough is Charlie Brown's down in Speedway. So just like kind of a nice little like diner, greasy food type stuff. Awesome place right there. And then another one that I think it's definitely it's a local favorite. There's a lot of them around town and stuff like that, but it's top-notch food is Cafe Patachu. It's kind of one of those things, like it seems like a chain a little bit, but it's just like, it's one of those local chains, but man, they have amazing food. Really, really good spot to set up a meeting for whatever you want to do for breakfast or lunch or whatever, but awesome food there. So love me some Cafe Patachu. And then another place, local place, Milktooth. Milktooth is definitely one of my favorite places, down in like Fletcher Place. Really cool atmosphere, really cool people. That open that spot, and really cool people that are cooking there. They're coming up with some really interesting dishes. Got some good stuff on their menu, but those are definitely, I put top 5 in there. Like I said, this is a list I probably could have put about top 15 on here, but those are my top 5 right there. So you got Rosie's, Good Morning Mamas, Charlie Brown's, Cafe Patachu, and Milktooth. So if you're looking for some breakfast, those are definitely the places that I would recommend. Randy, how about you? Did I get all your 5 as well, or you got some other ones to throw on there?
You had 4 of my 5. So congratulations.
You can tell where Randy and I like to have our meetings and stuff right there. But yeah.
No, the thing is, there's a lot of there's a lot of breakfast spots around Indianapolis. These ones in the top 5, in our top 5 at least, they're just really good food, really pretty well known. There's one that did survive on my list, and that is the Roost in Fishers. That's one of the, when I first moved to Indianapolis, is one of the first places I had breakfast, and I fell in love. So that's up in Fishers. And if
you go there, you got to get the sausage biscuits and gravy. So good over there. But
I would say out of all of those, like you kind of mentioned, the most kind of unique would be, in my opinion, Milktooth. Just some crazy menu items, but it's really neat. And then the atmosphere, especially sitting, like, I think it's like in an old car garage
Yeah.
or
Yep.
car shop. Yeah. So it's really cool, especially on a nice day. So, yeah, I had Rosie's, Patted Shoe, Milk Tooth, Good Morning Mamas, and The Roost.
Yeah. Awesome. Great spots there. So let's kind of elaborate on that breakfast spot a little bit and talk about coffee spots. So best places to kind of get coffee in town. There's some really, really great places to get coffee. Do a ton of coffee meetings and things around here. So some of the ones that I kind of put on here are good for good meeting spots and stuff too. But then they're also, I put a couple on here too that are like good weekend spots. So if you want to kind of get out of the downtown a little bit and go get that fancy cup of coffee and sit down and just enjoy it and stuff. So the first one on my list is Falls Perk out in Pendleton. I think they have the best coffee in town. They have like it says something for like how great their just cup of coffee is in general. But when you're looking at like a good cappuccino or a good latte, something like that, like Falls Perk out there is phenomenal. So definitely check that out. Another one, I think one of the best, like just, if you're getting just a cup of regular coffee, I think Tinker Street you can't go wrong there. They have amazing coffee, really good there. And then, Hubbard and Cravens, that's kind of that local chain favorite. There's a lot of places around town, a lot of cool, areas, great meeting spots, with Hubbard and Cravens. They do an amazing job with their coffee. Another one that's kind of a little bit off the beaten path a little bit, but I love going there, and it's a great place to go and work. We've actually done some meetings there and stuff as a team, is Schoolhouse Coffee out in or Schoolhouse Cafe out in Fishers. They literally took this old schoolhouse and turned it into a coffee shop. So number one, you drive in, it's just like looks like a cool place, but you can get in there and it's like feel like you're getting ready to like listen to a class or something like that. But some really good coffee there. And then another one of my favorites is Coat Check Coffee, down off of Mass Ave, kind of in that same building like the Rathskeller and stuff is in, which Rathskeller's on my list here too. Or that's for something else. But Coat Check Coffee is really cool down there if you're around like kind of the Murat area. If you're getting ready to go to a concert or something like that and need a cup of coffee to kind of perk up a little bit, or you're just down in that area walking around Mass Ave. So Coat Check Coffee is super, super solid. So
Yeah.
Randy, how about you, man? Any other coffee spots?
Yeah, a few more on my list. And like you said, they're outside, kind of like in the outskirts of Indianapolis in the suburbs area. But first, I have the Well Coffee House in Fishers. Really cool spot. All the new development around downtown Fishers, what they're doing. So it's a good place to have a meeting, work, and there's other places to walk to from there. Indy Coffee Roasters in Carmel. So that's one that we've definitely had a handful of meetings at. Really good coffee.
That coffee will get you going, man. That's
that
strong. I love it.
I think that's why I like it so much, because I need the strong stuff to get me going. So that's out just what would that be? East of downtown Carmel.
Yeah.
So good place to have a meeting there. And then last, another one in Carmel, you can kind of tell where I hang out, right, is Java. And that is in the Midtown area of the new development in Carmel. So and that's the cool thing about that, Brian, you kind of mentioned this. Well, you said last time you had a meeting there, you actually got coffee, but then you could walk the moan on. So it's a nice day. That'd be a perfect time if you have a meeting, or if you just want to go get a coffee and get a little exercise in.
Actually set up 2 coffee meetings there this week just for that reason, to be able to like grab a cup of coffee and then just walk up and down the Monon and stuff like that. So really cool. I'm going to throw another one in here too. Is I know we kind of mentioned quite a few in Hamilton County and stuff, but
Dunkin' Donuts.
That's Dunkin' Donuts. You got it. Yes. But Remnant Coffee up in Arcadia. I know that's kind of a far way for people especially if you're staying downtown. I know a lot of people are starting to stay kind of the Keystone Crossing area when they come in town, so it might not be that far for them. But Remnant Coffee up in Arcadia, it's actually a church it's in the downtown of Arcadia. There's not much around it or anything like that. Really small town. But it's actually a church. But then during the week when they're not having church service, they actually operate a coffee shop there. It's an amazing place. If you are in town and need to work for like an extended period of time, you can go there. There's a lot of places to spread out and work from there and stuff like that. So I definitely want to throw that in there. Yeah, really, really neat. You can reserve office space and stuff there as well. So pretty cool spot. So all right. The next one I think is one of my favorite categories to come up with. And I was actually like kind of thinking, I was like, oh man, we should get Anna and Kimmy on here with us to kind of talk about some of these things and stuff. But this is date night. So if you are in town and you want to go, we mentioned some higher end dinners, casual dinners, stuff like that. And they're great date spots as well. But then I kind of picked out a little category here for if you actually want to go, you have your significant other here with you and you want to go on a date. Here are some places I think are really kind of cool and stand out from a little bit of some of the other ones and stuff too. So really a lot of really good ambiance is what we're looking at here is Number one is Rick's Boatyard. So Rick's Boatyard Cafe, it's, you know, a local favorite, just hanging out there over Eagle Creek Reservoir. Great view, great time, great place to have a drink, some good seafood, some good dinners. So definitely a great place to check out. Another one that's like top notch is Traders Point Creamery. So amazing place to go in there. Basically, this old barn, you're sitting in there and you get to have some amazing food. Their menu is always changing. It's seasonal, farm to table stuff. Really, really good. Then they also have some ice cream that you can get afterwards, which is awesome as well. Another one I put on my list is Rathskeller. So if you just want some, I remember the first time my wife and I went there, I just went up and ordered us 2 beers. I came back with 2 beers that are like bigger than our heads, which was awesome. So, but it's just like a German beer hall. So, and then they have like a little patio out there too. They have some polka music going on and things. So really, really neat place to hang out there. Great date spot. And then Bluebeard. Bluebeard is, we kind of talked about Milktooth a little earlier. It's like right across the street from there. They have a really cool menu, that amazing foods, and the chef there is doing some like just unique stuff with some things. So I think it's a really good spot. And then the last one I have on my list is a local favorite too, is Mama Carolla's. So if you want to have some Italian food and basically just sit like kind of, it's set up like in an old house. It's kind of sit like you're sitting in a living room, eating some Italian food that your grandmother made or anything like that. So those are some top notch ones right there. If you are in town for a date, highly recommend all those 5. You cannot go wrong. And Randy, I'm sure you got a couple more on there that you want to add, man.
You have a few more. One that I will rival Mama Carolla's is actually, it's called the Italian House.
Yeah.
That's in Westfield, and it is in an old small house. But yeah, that's it's authentic. Good portion sizes, obviously every Italian place does, and a good atmosphere. And just across the street from that on my list, I have Chiba.
There you go.
So that's sushi joint. Owners there are amazing. So the place, the really cool place is they have like a New Orleans theme. So the owners are from New Orleans, and they always have live music. They got a huge patio stage in the back, or you can sit on in the normal restaurant, which is again in like an old house. So it's really neat there. Best sushi I've ever had. I don't care if I'm on the West Coast or East Coast. The best sushi I've ever had is in Westfield, Indiana. I'll stand by it. And then one I wanted to bring up, Fogo de Chao, Brazilian steakhouse. So really cool there, and you can get full pretty quick.
Yeah, always a good spot. So you can go to Fogo and chow down. That's always awesome. And you got to get a caipirinha to drink if you're there and stuff. So great Brazilian drink. So all right, speaking of drinks, let's talk about that. Where's a good place to have a drink in town? So if you are if you want to come in town, you want to have a drink and stuff like that, we have another category. We'll talk about breweries as well. So I just kind of focused on like, hey, I just want like a cool atmosphere, a cool place to have a good cocktail or a bottle of wine or something like that. So one of my favorite places is Urban Vines. Urban Vines up here in Hamilton County, kind of that Westfield, Carmel area and stuff like that. But they have just a great outdoor space. So there's not much kind of in the actual winery itself, but out back.
Kid friendly too.
Yeah, kid friendly. There's a playground that your kids can actually play on while you sip on a glass of wine and stuff like that. Have a lot of live music there, which is really cool. So definitely a great spot there. You can build your own charcuterie boards. They have some pizza. They also have a brewery as well, so you can kind of do wine or beer there, which is really cool. 2 of these next places are just distilleries here in town. Great spots. They're well known around town, stuff like that. And that's Hotel Tango and Whiskey Fork. You can't go wrong with either one of those. Go in there, whether you're just like doing a flight of their alcohol or you're getting cocktails and stuff like that. So awesome places right there. And then 2 cool places just to hang out. I just kind of put like, hey, if you're in town, you want some ambiance and just kind of laid back with a cocktail or anything like that. So the Rooftop Garden in Fountain Square. So actually kind of up on top of, overlooks kind of the downtown of Fountain Square and stuff like that. So you can sit up there and chill, really good spot. So the Rooftop Garden there. And then also the 1933 Lounge, which is above St. Elmo's, but kind of feel like you're in there, you get an old fashioned or whatever and feel like you're, getting ready to watch a gangster movie or something like that. It's my feeling that I get in there, but that's why I think they're really cool. Like I said, ambiance heavy, but cool place to get a drink, chill and just have a conversation or whatever it may be. So, yeah. And then Randy, I'm sure you want to mention like one of the best places, of course, to get a drink. Is it Ocean Prime, because they have the best bartender in town, right?
Yeah, they do. Award-winning bartender. It's where my wife works. So no, that'd be a good place to get a drink. So I have Flat Water in Broad Ripple on my list. So
Yep.
that's a really cool place. You can sit outside. It's on the canal there. There's always going to be live music in the summertime, and really can't go wrong there. Some good beer. I had Rick's Boatyard that you mentioned earlier in a different category, but that's a good place just to sit
Great place
out
to
in
get a
the,
drink. Yep.
yeah, just the view there on Eagle Creek, and see the boats go by, have a nice drink. One that I think I enjoy going to, it's going to be out of the ordinary, is Tappers in Fountain Square. So
Yeah.
it's actually an arcade bar.
Yep.
So it's really unique. You can just get a beer and play the old school arcade games that you grew up with. So it's good to hang out with some friends and do that. And then I also had Urban Vines on my list, just because that's a great place to go sit outside. Lots of land there. They'll have concerts out there in the summer, even in the winter, or if it's cold out, they have little igloos so you can go year round. So you can still check it out if it's cold out.
Yeah, and if you're driving by there, it always looks like the parking lot's just like crowded. It's okay.
It's
You
packed.
can bring your own chairs and like just set up outside and stuff like that. Randy said even that I know they did that this winter and stuff. Even though it was cold, they had like little igloos you can sit in outside of there and stuff too. So awesome stuff. So, and speaking of drinks, I think Indy has a great variety of breweries. I think there's some really cool breweries in town. Some that are they have multiple kind of franchises around town. Also, some that are just kind of just one spot stops. Which is really neat. But some of the breweries that really stand out to me, some of my favorites, I think Sun King is just, it's Indianapolis. It's, the kind of one of the original breweries here. They started doing it and everything. If you go to a Pacers game or an Indians game, something like that, you're gonna have Sun King there. And they have great food and or great beers. But they also have like, in some of their places, like the one in Fishers, the one in Carmel, it's you can actually, it's like a food hall, so you can have different places to eat from too and stuff like that. So really cool experiences there. One of my favorite breweries is Taxman. There's a couple different locations around town. There's one downtown. There's one out in Fortville, but the original one down in Bargersville. Really, really cool atmosphere down there. And really, they have an amazing menu, but they have really good beers too. So they got some strong beers, which I like. I like give me the double IPAs, and it's delicious. So they got a good one. So, and I think kind of along that, in that same vein, we get Upland definitely has to be mentioned. Upland is a great place, just Indianapolis beers. They got the different varieties. I know they're like heavy into the sours right now. Got some really cool sours. But Upland, there's some really cool spots kind of all around town and stuff, all the way like from Columbus all the way actually up to Upland where it originally started and things like that. But there's a bunch of them around town. One of my favorite ones is kind of down in the Broad Ripple area. So they moved in like an old coffee shop. So it's like a brewery / coffee shop, get beer or coffee there, which is really neat. And then two of my favorites too are Fountain Square Brewing is one of my favorites, kind of a nostalgic thing for me. So it's just kind of a cool area down in Fountain Square. It was the first brewery I went to in Indianapolis. So it kind of holds a special place in my heart, I think, just with that. But it was like, every time I go there, I'm like, man, I really like this place. I enjoy it. I get a flight every time I'm there, even though I kind of know what beer I want. I always just get a flight just because I enjoy it. And then another one of my favorites too is, and I'll say this, I'm going to put this under the category of brewery, but it's more about kind of the ambiance and the place that it is versus their beers. I actually don't think their beers are great, but they have some great guest taps. And that's Union Brewing and up in Carmel. It's right off of the Monon, like Midtown Carmel. There's a ton of places like hang out outside, really cool atmosphere out there. They always have a live band going, like kind of on the weekends and Friday and stuff like that. It's kind of, you can walk around the Monon, but then, or ride your bike on the Monon or whatever, pop off and have a beer. So really, really cool spot there. But Randy, how about when it comes to breweries, what are some of the ones that stand out to you here in Indianapolis, man?
Yeah. Again, you nailed my list, man, left and right. But I have one that is really fun in the spring and summertime. Blind Owl on the north side. So that one's really cool because it's got a big, it's got a big patio in the back, but they've got a lot of cornhole and bocce ball you could do, and just the ambience there, and just it's a really nice place to hang out. I had Sun King on there. One of my favorite locations is their newer one in Carmel. It's 2 stories, big patio. Also the walkability around it's always nice. You could take your beer outside and sit in the courtyard, play ping pong, right? Watch TV on a big screen if there's a game on. And the other ones you listed are on mine. And it's not a brewery, but it's a place. It's a good place to get some variety of beer. Is Hopcat and Broad Ripple, just because they have over 100 beers on tap, so you can't go wrong. They'll cover all the local stuff for you. So If you don't go to local breweries, you can go there and you can find their beer that they have on tap for that time. And then also being in Broad Ripple, just the atmosphere there, you can sit outside and, walk other places as well.
Yeah. And get some crack
But
fries.
really, you can't go wrong in Indiana if you could sit outside, get a good beer, and either enjoy some music with it or just look at the nice scenery. So
yeah, there's a lot of breweries in Indianapolis, and it's a great spot for it. So definitely recommend actually taking a brewery tour as well. There's a lot
the
of
brew bus, yeah.
If there's a few different ones and stuff like that, so definitely recommend checking those out and stuff. So that's the kind of the area. Like, man, I want to mention more, but I know we left some off the list and things like that.
Yeah,
but, definitely some good stuff there. So it's kind of speaking of that same thing, and you kind of mentioned it too, like good places like kind of watch a game. I think that's worth mentioning too. I know some people when they're in town, hey, where's a good place to go? If there's a good ball game on or whatever, where do I want to go watch that? I think that my favorite spot to go watch a game is the Ale Emporium over in Castleton area. So it's kind of always crowded in there if there's a big game going on, but they got some great wings, great pizza, a really good steak night on Tuesday night if you want to go over there, but have a bunch of different beers, but really cool. Just TVs everywhere. Great place to watch a game and a really good atmosphere too. Always have a lot of people coming in there. Another one of my favorites is Danny Boy up here in the West Clay and Carmel area. They got a bunch of TVs everywhere. Sit inside, outside, kind of have an upstairs area too to play pool and watch a game. But a really cool area there. Kilroy's, whether you're downtown, whether in Broad Ripple, Kilroy's is a great thing. Get a big old pitcher of a mixed drink. Got a ton of sugar in it, but a ton of flavor as well and some alcohol. So good stuff. Kilroy's can go wrong there. Also District Tap. District Tap is a place that there's a couple different locations around town. You can play darts there, but they got TVs everywhere. I feel like every year I end up there watching the World Series for no reason. It just seems that that's the way it happens or something like that, but great place to watch a game there. Then I also think I kind of threw this one on there because if you're downtown and kind of it's over by it's in the JW building and stuff like that, but the High Velocity. It seems like if I'm ever in town or ever go downtown for like an Indians game or there's a concert or anything like that, I always end up at High Velocity. I always have a really good time over there. They do a great job of making drinks. They got a great cocktail list, special list and stuff as well. But also just TVs everywhere. So you can watch a game or whatever is going on. So, Randy, how about you? What do you have to add there for places to watch a game, man?
Brian, you literally went down my list.
Awesome.
The only one I didn't have that you mentioned was High Velocity, which I forgot about that. That is a good place.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had Ale, District Tap, Kilroy's. I did not have Danny Boy. But yeah, so basically, I mean, those places all have tons of TVs, right? It's a good place to hang out there. All those places they have a lot of space, lots of TVs, and it's not expensive, so you could watch a whole game there and just have a good time. I think out of all of them, my favorite would probably be Ale Emporium.
Yeah.
And we'll get into that for a different reason why in a different category. But all good places. But just want to find a place with a lot of TVs. You can't go wrong with any of those on those lists. And it's good choices.
Awesome. All right, we got one more category to talk about today. And I didn't know where to put these, so I just called this is a random category that's worth mentioning for just kind of the good. If you want to go somewhere, check out somewhere for that's like it's Indianapolis. It's kind of represents that. It's kind of what the city kind of means and things like that. But I didn't really know what category to put them in, so I just kind of had a list here. Number one is the Mug and Bun. So it's a little drive-in over kind of Speedway area. That's just like it's greasy hamburger, but really good like. Homemade root beer, but they have a really cool spot. So Mug and Bun, definitely on my list there. Another one is the City Market. If you're in town during the day, go to City Market and there's a little bit of everything there. There's a little good place to get a drink in there. They have different vendors in there. You get different types of food and stuff like that, but that's a cool place to just go and walk around. So you can also put that like kind of a day area. Be a great place to go there for that one. Another one kind of falls in that same category is the new Garage Food Hall. So where they took the old Coca-Cola bottling plant, there's done a couple different things there. There's a hotel, but one of the places they did put in was it's called the Garage. It's a food hall, a lot of different vendors in there. So you can kind of have a variety. If you want pizza and your wife wants tacos, you can do that there. So no big deal. And kind of hang out there is great. One other thing I want to mention is the Wilson's Farm Market. So this is this is north of Indianapolis off of 31, kind of even north of Cicero. But it is just it's an Amish market. So you go in there and they have all different kinds of food that is Amish made. So you got your cheeses and your delis and your dips and just a bunch of canned stuff and jellies and stuff like that. They got some awesome fry pies, which is me and my wife's favorite thing to get there. So a bunch of different varieties there, but definitely worth checking out. Same thing. I didn't really know what category to put it in, but it's definitely worth checking out and kind of around that area. And then the last one I put on here is Cluster Truck. So Cluster Truck is basically just a food truck that delivers. So when everybody's now delivering, everybody kind of figured that out. Cluster Truck had this figured out a while ago, basically setting it up where they make food kind of in-house, and it's not made for basically if you order to go, they're making food that's supposed to be on a plate and they put it in a to-go menu or in a to-go box for you to go. Cluster Truck is designed basically for everything to be to go. But if you are, a place that you want to have a meeting or get some food delivered and stuff like that, hit up Cluster Truck. They have an amazing menu, but they design their food menu basically to be delivered. So great stuff there. Again, I didn't know what category to put it in, but definitely had to be on the list because awesome food, awesome place to kind of get some stuff going. So
Yeah,
Randy, how about you? Any other kind of just like a little random thing or something we didn't mention today? I know our next episode is going to be kind of specialty stuff. So if you want to get wings or a burger or a pizza, we're going to kind of get into a bunch of all that stuff on the next episode. But any other random places in here that you kind of didn't know what category they fit in?
Yeah, the first one, I actually put slapfish down. So slapfish is, it's a, fish and seafood, but they get pretty creative with it. Like shrimp burritos and,
right. Lobster's not supposed to be in a taco, but they
right,
make it work.
Right. They make it work somehow. So there's a couple locations. I believe there's one downtown. There's also one in Carmel. So, definitely check those out. And then I had Bakersfield on there. I didn't know like what category to put it in because you can kind of go there. You can go there for dinner or lunch. You can go there for date night. You can go there for a drink, right?
Yeah.
But good margaritas, good tacos. And also I had the garage on there as well. The new garage. So
yeah,
it's good stuff, man. This episode's making me hungry.
There we go. It's time to go eat now. So and probably grab a drink as well. But no, so that's what, and we've seen some people posting about that stuff. And we know that also people, when they come in town, they want to know what to do and stuff. Hopefully this helped you guys out. If you have any questions or want to know like, hey, I'm going to be in this area. You didn't mention anything here. Let us know. We're more than happy to help you out with that. More than likely, Randy or I have been there for a meeting or just to hang out because we like to check out all the different little local spots. Like I said before too, we know we left things off this list, but this is kind of what we wanted to mention, stuff that we like, stuff that we think that our, investors would like as they're coming into downtown and stuff. So on the next episode, we are going to hit up some specialties. So we're going to stick with some food and drink, but we're going to hit up the specialties. We are going to talk about the best places to get wings, best places to get a burger, pizza, a tenderloin here in Indianapolis, donuts, ice cream, Mexican food, international food. You want the health stuff and wellness stuff. We got a good spot for you too. And then we also got to talk sushi. Randy already mentioned Chiba. It's his favorite place to get some sushi, but there are some other places as well. So we're going to talk about that on the next episode. And then we also have another episode coming up too about just things to check out. So aside from food and drink, what are some cool areas and stuff to hang out or check out? Like I said, we're doing these episodes now to kind of fill some space because we had some things mess up with some of the neighborhood stuff. But this involves the neighborhoods, some really good food and drink. That's what a lot of neighborhoods are built on. So hopefully this helps you out when you're in town as well. With that, Randy, got anything before we get out of here for the day?
If anyone's in Indy, they want to have a meeting, pick any of the places we talked about today, and I'll be completely fine with it.
So yeah, Randy, we get upset when people are like, "Oh, hey, meet me at McDonald's or meet me at
Starbucks
or something like that." Starbucks. Yeah, let's get some good local spots. There are some amazing local spots here in Indianapolis. Definitely worth talking about. It is a not well-known food city, but I think it's starting to be well-known
for sure,
a little bit, or at least known for what is going on here. Some amazing chefs, some unique chefs doing some amazing stuff, and some good drinks as well. Some great bartenders out there. So, all right. Well, thank you so much for listening. And this is a wrap for this episode of the Indy Investor Pod. We'll see you guys next time. We continue talking about some more food and drink. Take care, guys.